Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XI. So there's our whale, the Crag of Mia, and similar to how I got really, to the Crag of Dim, I used the teleportation books and teleported to the Maze of Shakrami from when we picked it up when we unlocked Dragoon. And now we're going to find the Shattered Telepoint Crystal here, and do a little column A, a little column B, do the same thing we did last time. So I guess if you don't want to see me trek through yet another Promyvion that will be slightly different in color, you can go ahead and skip ahead to see the story bits. Because I'm pretty sure there aren't going to be any until we get to the Mother Crystal. But, last time I was a little bit miffed that lion cutscene from Rhapsodies happens at all, because it happens out of order. Like, we haven't even actually unlocked the Promies yet, or been past them, and just we get to see the Mother Crystal of Lion, and it's so stupid, because it's out of order, and I hate it. But, whatever. I don't hate Rhapsodies. I just don't... Oh. What's this? It's Ayami and Naji. And Sid. Oh, but the Ducal Guard's here as well? Little Wolfgang, huh? Sid and Wolfgang know each other, huh? Never seen such high readings. I've never seen such big teeth. Giant beast appeared over the sea just north of Delphoot's tower. That would be Bahamut. Uh-huh. Shaky, shaky. Eggs and bakey. Oh, did it take us inside? Oh, wow. Okay, we just get completely catapulted straight into Promyvion Mia. And again, that voice. Come, calm land. It's like a dark reflection of the world outside. Wheels are in motion. Darkness. Heed your destiny. I hope that's not Iroha talking to us. Because it would be a damn shame. Okay, so it's going to take us a little bit to get up there, and we might as well make ourselves safe so we don't have to be hassled by things. Also, I just like buffing. It gives us enhancing magic skill ups. Plus, I still haven't even healed myself from the damage I took when I fought the other one, because I did this recording pretty much directly after. Because I wanted to. In stone, because it matches the day's element. I'm totally stupid to have not buffed myself with haste first, but whatever. Haste, it lowers the recast time on all of your spells. So, it's always good to do it first. Or basically, refresh, then haste, then everything else. If you actually need to refresh it. Also, it's annoying. Some buffs will stay on you through zoning, while others won't. And, it's kind of annoying, but yeah. You can see this one is blue. So we kind of have like inverted colors for the Promyvions. Like, you know, normally Windurst would be green, but dim. The one in Bastok was green, and the one in Windurst is blue. Kind of twirl like little dancers. They also kind of look like demonic sperm. Dude, our landline has rung like 6 or 7 times since I started recording this morning. And I just shudder to think, like, if this was the days of dial-up or DSL or something, like, I could have possibly been kicked off just for the phone ringing. Or someone trying to call, or whatever. We really put up with a lot of shit with the old internet, I tell you. It wasn't really that bad, though. I mean, like, regardless of how fast things work these days, compared to the old days, like, it's basically like hurrying up to wait. Like, a lot of people don't make good use of the time, the extra time that they don't know that they're getting. Right, because like you can't perceive something as quick unless you had a reference point to know what was slow. So because most people in this day and age now, you know, didn't live through the old internet speeds, you know, they don't have any concept of what slow was in regards to internet speed, which is sort of a shame, but also sort of whatever. Also, people who did live during that time have really bad memories. So, like, they don't... So people who should know probably forgot. Which is kind of whatever, I suppose, but it is mildly annoying. Okay, gather you guys up. And kill you with Circle Blade. Because you're annoying. I love sword weapon skills. They're not the best. They don't have the best fullest complement of effects, but they're pretty dang good. Although, let me think about it. Which weapon has the most versatility? I don't think any single weapon can claim to have the most versatility, just due to the way relic weapons and mythic weapons and Empyrean weapons brought new weapon skills on the same. And here we got our first fake memory receptacle. And I say fake because a teleporter didn't open up. Let me just think about the high-end weapon skills, though. I guess Dagger's pretty flexible. I mean, Sword's pretty flexible too, but Dagger's also pretty flexible. It has a... At 225, it gets a weapon skill that has Fragmentation. And then it gets a quested weapon skill that has Gravitation. But then its mythic weapon skill that anyone can learn, even those without mythic weapons, is Fusion Elemental. So daggers are pretty dang flexible. That's 3 out of the 4 level 2 skill chain elements that you need to make light and darkness skill chains. It also allows for a thief to self-skill chain light without any special weapons, using their best weapon. Because that fusion elemental weapon skill is thief only, though. But then I think the dagger mythic weapon skill is also possibly not fusion elemental, but I think it's distortion elemental. I think Dancer can do self-darkness, if I remember right, somehow. So those are both pretty versatile. Katana, Great Katana, I mean, is pretty flexible too. At 225, they get a distortion weapon skill, and at 250, they get a quested weapon skill that's, I want to say, fusion elemental. And then their mythic weapon skill, because Great Katana is technically usable by ninjas as well as samurais, but the mythic weapon skill is gravitation elemental, allowing samurai to 2-step self-darkness. But they also have the ability to 3-step light skill chain using their level 200 or 200 skill and 200, 225 skill and 250 skill weapons. Not sure. There's a lot of flexible weapons in this day and age. Craver. It's like a giant weird spider. Did I go backwards? That's like the exit teleporter. I hope I didn't go backwards. Like I wouldn't even know how I would go backwards though. Like I didn't think that was like a possibility. If it was, or if it is, then I'm sorry. But we're still pretty close to the beginning of the recording, so it should be okay. We'll get to the end eventually. Apparently there's some add-on people can get that allows them to negate knockbacks on their character. And there's people who are dumb enough to say that it's not cheating. And it's literally because getting knocked back is annoying or whatever is the reason. It's because they don't want to have to reposition their character. They don't want to have to worry about getting knocked into other monsters and crap. And it's just like, well, if an attack has knockback though, you're supposed to get knocked back. So why are you cheating? Find a way to circumvent it or whatever without, altering the game data. Oh, maybe those aren't how you exit. Maybe those active circular ones that are already active. Maybe those are how you go backwards, and they're just not all in the same location. Like, oh look, idle monsters again. Whew. Scary. Right, like they wouldn't be able to one-shot us because we've got stone skin and shadows, but like we wouldn't be able to outrun them. So like, it's just kind of well, we might have been able to outrun one if we didn't think about it. But we're here now. Spire of Mia. And once again, we've got another battlefield, and it's going to be titled Ancient Flames Beckon. Kushwiga, Kushwiga. Apparently someone named Suni who did these all just a few days ago. I don't even know how they killed it in 16 seconds since the clock starts before you're even inside. Maybe there's a setting for them to like get inside before anything goes down or something. Let's see, refresh. It looks like it has a water core, so I think thunder is what we want. If it's not water, then it's ice, but thunder ought to work fine against ice too. It just won't be doubly effective or whatever. You know what? I forgot to do the composure thing. That's new to Red Mage. Or, well, relatively new to Red Mage. Red Mage hasn't always had composure. It used to have to juggle its buffs on their default timers, which is usually about 3 minutes. And if you buff other people, you still have to juggle them on their default timers, because composure only extends the buffs the Red Mage casts on themselves. Which, I mean, is still good, but it's kinda... it can be kind of bad. We don't need that regen yet, but we will want it. And I'll want Stone Skin as well. I think we'll start by slowing this one. Pull it slow. It's called the Delver. The guy I used to know who's in the Air Force was named Delvish. He cosplayed as a thief somewhere before. Tall boy. Oh, it looks like I guessed right on the blue being for water. Ice is usually a much lighter blue. The dangerous thing about this guy, this particular boss, is it has a move that effectively acts as a throat stab. It ignores all of your buffs and will deal 90% of your health as damage. So we want to keep our shadows up and Stone Skin up at all times in case that it does that. It might not ever do that though. It has other moves as well. Okay, so we've got TP to weapon skill, but we want shadows instead. Empty Thrash. Yeah, that's like its AoE. Like, that would hit everyone, and if you didn't have Ninja Sub, then it would deal... Like, if you were level 30, it would probably deal like 400 damage to everyone. But we're level 51, and so we're kind of making a joke. Oh, and Carousel is also sweeping attacks that hit the whole party. I wanted to do its throat stab move, but I don't think it's gonna get TP to do it, unless it's got a regain now that it's like nearly dead. But maybe I remembered wrong. Maybe it wasn't just that the fact that it had a throat stab. Maybe it was that Carousel that it starts to spam at low HP because it... Ah, there we go. Impalement. Yeah, see? It even broke my Stone Skin. So yeah, that's all the AoEs and that throat stab is why this one was the hardest, considered the hardest boss. Although if I remember right, the one for Alla was no picnic either. I think it spawned ads at an enhanced rate compared to the dim one. And it had some other nasty stuff it could do. Oh, this Mother Crystal's got like a ring around it. It's a little more circular. Oh, this time the boys passed out. Oh, hey, it's Bucidine Glacier. Can feel it. This dream, whose baby. Oh, hey, you might recognize her from Final Fantasy Dissidia. I recognize her from years of nostalgia related to this game. And there we go, another 1,500 experience points for quest completion. Yeehaw. And since we're only 20 minutes into the recording, we might as well go to, you know, to the Crag of Ola. Although the Crag of Ola, I think we're better off warping to Sandoria and taking a chocobo, because Ordell's Cave's entrance with its book is pretty much just as far away from the crag as West Ronfar's zone line, almost. And if we can get on a chocobo into West Ronfar instead, I think the travel time will be slightly faster. I mean, obviously I could also just switch to White Mage and teleport directly to the crag, but I don't have well, it's not that I don't have, it's, I don't want to play on White Mage. I don't have good clubs, and I could still win, obviously. These bosses aren't really that challenging for a level 50 player. Although they're, as you could see, they're not without danger. Imagine if that boss had decided to spam Impalement on me instead of Carousel. Because Impalement would have gone through Shadows. And I'm not sure if a second Impalement would have been fatal or not. You would think that it would be. And it definitely could be. I wonder if regen will persist. Guess we gotta find out. Alright, Camarine. Yeah. Also, if you're wondering how I got so much gil between last time and this time, I actually teamed up with my friend Vox. I bought a Savory Shank with my login points and spawned a level 95 highly notorious monster, the King Behemoth, with her. And she's like maximum level, maximum item level, has nearly all the best stuff in the game, and she basically killed it in 2 weapon skills and laughed. And I was after an item from it for my black belt quest for Monk. We won't be able to get the black belt for quite some time, but let's see. I got 1/3 of the items required for it, and the only reason I didn't record it is basically I forgot. But at some point in the future, maybe when I'm strong enough to show off killing it on my own, I'll show it off. Because all I did was hit it once with sneak attack, and then I got killed by Meteor. So, not exactly, like, in the spirit of this Let's Play. It's just something, like, she's, like, I wanted to go ahead and get the black belt item while I knew she would have the time. And, well, could be worse. It also drops an earring called the Pixie Earring, which is a level 70 earring that gives +3 dexterity. Which, for some reason, a lot of people just never used back in the day. I'm not sure why. It's actually one of the better earrings you could possibly use, especially back in the day. But it's because it shares a drop slot, I think, with the item that people actually desire from the King Behemoth, and that is the Defending Ring, also known as the Protect Ring in some Final Fantasies. Instead of increasing your defense by an insane amount, it actually just, it has an effect, damage taken minus 10%. So you take 10% less damage from all sources. So it's this insanely good ring. And it's still insanely good because rings and accessories like that aren't beholden to item level. They don't affect your item level, so you can wear any accessories you want, even in today's climate for the game. And so it's still a highly sought after ring, which makes savory shanks really expensive. And they don't actually do a login points campaign every month. I think they should. I think it would encourage people to log in, but they don't. They do it like every other month or every 3 or 4 months or something, and you get 100 points a day for however long they set up the point acquisition period. I was able to earn a total of 2,600 points, and Savory Shank costs 1,500. There's 2 other Notorious Monster items that are like that. And they're tradable, actually. They're rare, but they're tradable. You can't sell them on the auction house, but you can sell them in your bazaar as well. And so a lot of players take to using their login points to buy them and then sell them. And yeah, see, if we had taken the book warp, it would have taken us to Ordell's Cave. We would have had to run out and all the way up the ramp, and then all the way around the way we're going now, except we wouldn't be on a chocobo. And it probably would have taken us, to run out of that canyon, it probably would have taken us the same amount of time, if not slightly longer, as it took us to run through West Wanfar in this chocobo. So, this is like the one situation where the book teleport isn't really that great. Although, I think there's a book at the start of Jugner Forest or something. Maybe, possibly. This book that's over here is, I'm pretty sure, is a it's just a Fields tome that will give you a training regimen, but not anything else. Well, you could repatriate from it, I think, but I don't think there's a survival guide over there. If there is, then whatever, I'm wrong, and I should have used it. But I don't know. I like riding chocobos. Oh, whoops. Also, you might be wondering why I'm seeing only Unity messages and not Link Shell messages. I just went ahead, since my Link Shell mates were talking up a storm, I ideally didn't want this message thing to be spammed. Of course, Unity is spamming it anyway, but, well, it is still less spam by taking my Link Shell off. Let's see, is that the broken telepoint? Shattered telepoint. Excellent, excellent, excellent. A little bit of refresh, a little bit of regen, and then maybe some Cure 4s. I think it's really stupid they didn't let Red Mage have anything beyond Regen 2, as far as I'm aware. They gave all the Regen to White Mage and Scholar. Which, I mean, is good for Scholar, because, I mean, Regens are really great. But it's also good for White Mage. But I guess maybe they saw Red Mage as being too powerful or something. But for some reason they give Red Mage the ability that restores people's MP over time. And the second and third tier of that. No, it's Nagmaletta again. Discount Vegeta. Well, I've already beat you then. I went to Mia. I've been to 2. Did he just bitch slap me? Maybe he magically bitch slapped me. Oh wow, he's not even putzing around. He's like, Wolfgang, kill him. Wolfgang's like, I don't think we need to. Besides, he's damn good looking. It's a citadel built to protect the mother of all life on Vanadiel, the crystal. Uh-huh. Are you sure I'm not following the boy? The darkness that the Dawn Maidens have feared for thousands of years. The darkness that eats away at the very soul of Vanadiel. The darkness known as the emptiness. And you were born with the emptiness. You brought it with you into our world. From where did you bring it? Does the specimen need to be alive for us to collect sufficient data? Of course not, sir. Oh. He is linked to the darkness. Apparently he can't be killed. At least not by Wolfgang. But was he generating the darkness, or was he... pulling it out? Why do we struggle, huh? Well, mainly because I like killing big monsters, but, well, yeah, I've been facing the darkness, my guy. Your inner self, huh? But I'm not a Dark Knight right now. No, that's not Dark Knight's questline in this game. It's Dark Knight's questline in 14, though. Let's see. The day of the week is stone. If we wait to cast our end spell, though, it'll switch over to the day of the week being, I think, wind. No, Water's Day. It'll be Water's Day next. Oh wow, idle wanderers are on the first floor this time around. Woo-wee! Steer clear of them if we can. Thank goodness they didn't put them everywhere. Although I'm sure they thought about it. Because you see, they actually... Well... I can't remember exactly when it was. There was 2 major nerfs to the difficulty of Chains of Promythia that they did, with several other nerfs as well. No, this one's like light blue, so I guess this one's gonna be an ice boss or something. In that case, let's do in fire. Maybe its element is part of the landscape or something. Nope. No, not really. Okay. In water it is. But, yeah, I'm sure they thought about completely replacing every monster in here with the level 85 ones, because they are sadistic like that sometimes. But as far as the nerfs on Chains of Promathia goes, supposedly, from what I've heard anyway, is that, or at least of what I've read, was shortly after they released the Promyvions, people said they were too difficult, and so because of the density, the population density of the monsters in here, so supposedly they lowered the monster density to help people get through it. And so people start saying, oh, they nerfed Cop. I beat Cop before it was nerfed, etc., etc. But there would be more quote-unquote nerfs to come. Like, keep in mind, they didn't actually change the boss fights. They just changed the journey to get to the boss fight. Which, I mean, is still part of the objective, right? Like, you still... If you have to venture through a hard place or a long trek to get somewhere to beat a boss, right? You didn't just have to beat the boss, you had to do the long trek. So it is part of the difficulty. Oh man. I don't know why this is all rendering like this, but it's bugging me. Normally you could just see all this. I don't know why it decided to load in like that. The graveyard sort of like fence. But, yeah, so the first nerf was mob density in the Promyvions. The second nerf that was real big that happened while I was playing actively at the 75 cap was since the boss fights were considered so hard and they were level restricted, what would happen is you die. But whenever you died, you still lost the experience points relative to your actual level. And so that meant that if you got in a really bad group or you just kept having bad luck with what the boss was using, and you didn't have your strategy worked out well, or like you just weren't good at, good at the game, good at fight execution, you could lose a lot of experience points. And it was especially true of the later fights, where your group composition mattered a whole lot. Just because of how imbalanced this game is. And so what they decided to do eventually was they made it so you no longer lose experience points in any of the Chains of Promathia boss fights. You could still lose experience if you died, like here in the Promyvion, but you wouldn't lose any experience points for dying in the boss fights. Also, check it out. You seen this guy before in the Endwalker trailer? Yeah. This is where he comes from, actually. He's a reused asset. It's kind of beautiful, really. And this type of thing is actually what the big boss at the end is going to be, or the same family or same type. Yeah, the idea of the expansions, though, like in this game, wasn't to just tell a story; it was to add to the world. In an earlier video, I kind of said that the world in this game is the centerpiece, right? The player kind of isn't. And I mean that was even more true back in 2004 when this expansion was new. And oh god, what was I saying? I lose my train of thought so easily. Like my brain is so active, and I haven't been to sleep yet. That like I just I'll be talking and I just lose my like I'm on. I think I'm on a roll. I lose my train of thought. I'm sure you've noticed by now if you've listened to me jabber. Of course, the main person watching this, which is Colby. Thanks, Colby. He knows that from talking to me in person. I just sort of zone out sometimes. Probably comes off as really rude too. Like I'll be listening. It happens with everyone I talk to too. Like it'll happen with Sarah. She'll be talking to me about something, and I'll either be like I might have been thinking about something before she started talking, and sometimes my thoughts will literally just push out someone talking to me. Like I'll just ignore them without really meaning to. And sometimes I'll ignore myself too. Like my own thought process. Like another thought will override it. Sounds dumb, but it's a thing for me. Sometimes it's useful. Sometimes it's good for blocking out like TVs or assholes, but it's kind of a bane when you're trying to make a commentary. Let's see, I was talking on and on about what was it? How they nerfed the place. All right, did I ever get to? Yeah, they made it so you didn't lose EXP in the boss fights, and eventually they removed the level cap from not just the boss fights, but the areas. So that meant that traversing them was no longer a challenge. And by the time they had raised the level cap and added in these level 85 monsters, that's what they had already done. And that was part of the reason why they were comfortable putting in the level 85 monsters. It was because, you know, they took note that the majority of the player base likes to level the maximum level before they even consider doing storyline content. And to be honest, like, if we just try to plow the entirety of Chains of Promathia over the next set of videos, we will actually have to stop and level. Because even with trusts, we'll need to be bare minimum in the level 70s in order to beat the end. Because the final missions take place in areas with monsters that are like level 80 to level 83. And that's supposed to be the natural progression. And that's basically incredibly tough or very tough to level 75 characters. And that's just how they designed it. And some of the boss fights leading up to those areas were difficult for some people to beat. Even people who outleveled them by quite a bit and should have been able to beat them, solo by themselves, weren't able to do so, which I always found very weird. But like I said before, not everyone that plays this game is actually good at it. There's quite a lot of people who use third-party tools as huge crutches, but more than that, people just don't have the mindset for the strategic combat where you need a lot of forethought. And even if you do, Like, you might have just forgotten one thing, and that one thing could be what makes or breaks whether you won or not. Which is why people prefer to just outlevel the content and beat it down without thinking about it. Okay, so this one is clearly going to be ice, right? So we'll use Endfire. Oh, hey, this battlefield record is held by 3 people apparently. One of which is named No Hope. Seems legit. Okay, so this one is called Reeker. Like Reeker of Havoc, I guess. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about the burp. All this talking. All in all, the fight length is about the same. It's a little bit shorter for us soloing it in the low 50s. But like back in the day, even with a pretty good setup, like you didn't want these battles to last that long because they can do nasty stuff, but also because your mages, like your healers and stuff, would run out of their MP. Water's Day is bad for fire buffs, but whatever. Well, it's bad for fire spells in general, but we'll be okay. I don't think we'll be able to paralyze it because it's ice elemental, but we should be able to slow it. And we can definitely get Dia 2 going on it to lower its defense by like 14% or something. Man, he's a big boy. He's got some weird move where he attacks us with like a tongue thing. And I think he can also eat our buffs, like the one from Dim. And I'm pretty sure he spawns ads too. But it has been a long time. I suppose we could cast Blink. Alternate between Yususimi Ichi and Blink. Blink's not as good as Yususimi, but it's still two shadow images, even though they're not back to back. And we did actually manage to paralyze it, so that's good. Trinary Absorption. Yeah, that's the weird tongue thing I was talking about. Drained our HP, stole some of our buffs. Not sure exactly what it stole, but I'm just gonna kill it. So. Shadow Spread. I don't even remember what that does. Maybe it's slow? Oh, like it looked like its eyes shut when it's like elemental like orbs turned off. But yeah, see, not too bad, not too bad. Looks like he's hurt. It released the darkness, huh? The emptiness is destruction that knows not of its destructive force. Even the Dawn Maidens, who fear neither God nor man, tremble in the presence of this hideous darkness. I guess those are the maidens we saw in the vision. The emptiness is dissipated, huh? Why can he touch the crystal? Well, surely it's just a rock. Why wouldn't you be able to touch it? Oh hey, isn't that the Archduke's little brother? You will never betray me. The will of the crystal is aligned with the will of this world. Yes, that which was broken into 5 parts. 5? Oh, right. There will be no salvation. It exists within the soul of every living person. We are all vessels. Huh. So, look at the imagery there. One angel was free with its arms spread, and the other angel is shackled in chains with dark wings. Let us all pray to the goddess, to all the gods. Looks like a Mako pod or something. Oh, we killed that one faster than the other two. Probably because I elected to... Blueface Meadows, huh? Or Blueface? Face? Got a dark gray sky. Chapter 2, The Isle of Forgotten Saints. You got... I guess we all got teleported or something? Far to the west you feel. Huh. Wonder what that is. Is it Bahamut again? The sky is tearing? We got 3 Taru-Tarus. One of them tripped over us. A castaway, huh? Where'd this one wash up from? What are you stealing from me, you jerk-offs? Yep, they stole the mysterious amulet. Well, normally we wouldn't have a map of this place yet, but because they let us buy almost every map in the game, we do have a map of this place. And the monsters here are Chains of Promyvions monsters. And some of them are new and some of them are old. Most of them will aggro us. So we do want to sort of just sneak on through, because I don't really feel like fighting anything. Even though we could fight anything that we want to with trust, or by ourselves, really. I'm not sure if everything here is aggressive or not. Obviously the Gigas are. I think the Buggards are, but I mean this one didn't aggro us, so maybe not. Buggards have always been sort of a weird monster design in my opinion. Also, if we go to the north up through that cave, it links up there, and up there are some level, I want to say like level 74 to 77. They might be 78. They might be... I know back in the day, some people actually used to go there to EXP to get up to level 75. It was a new high-level camp for EXP. And before this expansion came out, the high-level camps were all actually pretty bad. And actually, come to think of it, I think you actually... I think you go through here. I think this leads to a cave that has like a vortex in it or something. But yeah, this is one of the zones I wanted to get access to. Not for EXP, but buggards have a blue spell on them. And, I mean, it's a lovely zone with lovely music, so why wouldn't I want to come here? But, yeah. Oh, dear. Oh, I'm feeling things. Oh, goodness. There's someone fishing there. Lu Shang's fishing rod +1, huh? That's interesting. Well, fun fact. Where that fisher is fishing, this lagoon right here, Liramu Lagoon, back in 2012, this woman that I was in love with at the time, she brought me out here shortly after, a month or two after she got married, and not to me. And she told me that she didn't love her husband and that she was desperately in love with me and wanted to know what I wanted to do about it. Now I was dumb enough to try to have a relationship with her. It did not work out. Although we did have an affair for about 2 years. Well, it wasn't quite 2 years, but it was almost 2 years. And it was the weirdest relationship I've ever been in. But sometimes I still find myself thinking about her and wondering how she is. And it hurts. Oh, I guess this part stuff is a little bit higher level, probably like in the 40s. The stuff where we started out along the south is all in the mid 30s. So if you didn't have Sneak or Invisible, you'd want to stay down there. Looks like that guy is making a new Visara. He's camping some notorious monster that he's got to kill multiple times. And making the mega weapons really sucks. It's a huge time sink. It used to be a year, like a few months for Empyreans and a few years for relics and mythics. It's much faster these days, but it's still not exactly something you can do overnight. Sure are a lot of buggards out here. I guess they were like super proud of this new monster and they just wanted to put it out there. You can craft all sorts of stuff out of its skin and horns, so it makes sense that they'd put a lot of them out here so that everyone would have ready access to them. Now we've got a rope bridge going over a rather lovely stream, or river, I guess. Yeah, it's definitely wide enough to be a river. Survival guide. Ooh-wee. Hot damn, call the police and the fireman. But we don't want to end just yet. Not yet. Tavnasian safe hold. Oh, you thought I was dead, huh? Why would you think that? Being watched, huh? Justinius, huh? Travelers, this place is nothing but a memory fleeting on the edge of time. There is little we have to offer outsiders. And so I must ask you these questions. From where have you come, and to where do you go? If your conscience is clean and your intentions just, you should have no reason to not provide me with answers. Yeah, prove that you're innocent. Yeah, fight to the death. What? You say these Tarotaru stole something from you? But that was... Stealing items from an unconscious stranger. What were you three thinking? But that amulet is precious. I bet that funny-looking adventurer stole it from her. It does closely resemble the one Prish had in her possession. Amulet, so that explains. We shall wait for Prish's return. She will know whether the amulet is hers or not. Until that time, I suggest that you rest here in the safe hold. However, remember that you are not welcome. And the moment the issue at hand is solved, you will be asked to leave and never come back. Alright. Man, these Opmosite refiner dudes are everywhere. And we have yet another survival guide. Just in case the one outside wasn't enough for you. God, dude, they fucking, like, took a syringe and just injected, teleportation devices and points into this game. And I don't even think they stopped to think about how many they were adding in. They just said, make it convenient. We don't want to lose subscriptions. Yeah, so we've got the Tabnasian safe hold. And I don't know if it has, like, its own fame or something that determines what these guys will sell. But I think it's linked to your Chains of Prometheus story progress rather than fame. I could be wrong. But, they've got a lot of their own stuff here. And rope bridges. I see they're kind of here in this, like, cave sort of deal. And there's all sorts of little side quests you can pick up here. I don't remember exactly how to advance the story at this point, but we've pretty much already come up on an hour anyway. I don't want to try to keep these maybe a little bit shorter, just so you don't get burnt out on me trying to force storyline to happen. And I guess there's going to be a telepoint on every floor. And interestingly enough, even though they said they don't have much to offer and they can't get much out here, let's see, maybe I'm on the wrong floor for this, or the wrong side. One of the floors has what? Oh, my dogs are barking like crazy. Sorry if you hear that. One of the floors has an auction house, and that's where I'm trying to go. I guess maybe it might have been the ground floor. But, I can't fully remember, like, anything. Maybe you already noticed. Yeah, most of the side quests around here will relate to the Chains of Prometheus missions in some way. If they don't relate to the missions, then they'll relate to, like, the lore of Tabnasia, obviously. And, some are far more useful than others. But most of the ones that I care about, we won't be able to access until sometime later. Oh, okay. Maybe we don't have access to the auction house yet because it's tied to War Progress and Chains of Promathia. Like, one of these areas is supposed to be tied to the auction house. Oh, I think these are like the delivery people. Anyway, I think I'll go ahead and end it here. Thanks for watching, and I might do some more leveling between this time and next, just because, I mean, I can. There's no reason not to. And, I mean, I don't know what I'll level next, really. It could be anything. Like, we don't need any particular job to do what I want to do, although Red Mage would be really handy, since it's really powerful. Blue Mage would also be really handy. But, I mean, yeah, the world's kind of our oyster in this day and age, so it's whatever I feel like, I suppose. So, thanks for watching, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.